Alright, what's up guys? So in these videos of what's sold, I just go over pretty much what my admin work is. And the first one is I go over my seller board sales. What's sold yesterday, update it, put the cogs into my spreadsheet and all that. Next, I update my stranded inventory. Next up, eBay sales, but we won't go over that. And then I update my prep center sheet just to check things in. That way I have a check-in process to make sure everything showed up when it was supposed to show up and all that. And that way I'm not losing any money. All right, so let's hop in. Oh, there we go. All right, so this is the spreadsheet or the sheet that I use to track everything. As you can see, this is the everyday, what I just went over. And we'll be starting with seller board right here. Put sales and update media purchase spreadsheet. So that's just saying that I'm going to come in here on seller board. There is a link in the description if you want to check it out. It's pretty much an accounting software that gives you real-time sales data. It is a little bit different than what your app on your phone's going to show you. So if you look at this, so on this, you can't, okay, it's not going to focus. Well, anyways, on my app, it shows that I have $2,687 in sales for the month, but on here it says 2,763. That's just because seller board's taking into account everything, like the returns, the lost inventory, and yada yada. I've noticed that lost inventory does not show up on your app on your phone, but seller board will catch it, and that really helps you keep track of everything, and gives you real-time numbers and what you actually have. Like, for instance, on your phone, you'll see gold bars of 2,600, and you're like, man, I've made $2,600 this month. But that isn't really the whole case. What it is you're gonna come here and you're gonna see that the estimated payout is 1,515. So that's what you're actually getting sent to your bank account, but that's not actually your profit. You're coming down here, you're seeing your gross profit. That's what your profit is, but then you're minusing out your expenses and your cogs and all that, and then this is your actual number. So I've actually made, after $2,700 in sales, I've actually made $81 in profit, which does not sound pretty. That is not what you want to see. But for yesterday's sales, we made $191. Same thing. Estimated payout 75, and gross profit is 22. Net is 22. And if you really break it down, and you see that your Amazon sales or Amazon fees is what the biggest thing was, because we didn't have any expenses come out. Expenses is zero, which is expenses is like my tools and everything. And then you got your cost of goods, which is what you paid for each product. But the big thing that came out was inbound transportation fees. So $47 came out because yesterday I had fees of my shipment come out. And you can see that all right here, like 67 cents for this book, 38 cents for this book, and then a whole bunch of different books after that. And then, so these ones up here, if you see the units sold, you'll see that these 1, 2, 3, 4 is what I sold yesterday. So I'm going to take the title of this and I'm going to throw it in here. And you can see that I've bought several of these. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hey, buddy, you need to go lay back down. It's way too early, okay? Sorry, my son woke up and it's 4:30 in the morning. He needs to go lay back down. Anyways, so what I'm going to do is I'm finding this. I'm going to put 5, 16, 25. So you can see that it took me 42 days to sell it. So I bought it on the 4th of, looks like April. And I sold it, yesterday, which is 5/16. So it took me 42 days to sell this. I sold it at, what did I sell it at? Sold it at $40. 40. And then the proceeds, what's going into my bank account, is going to be $48.80. $48.80. Wait, is that right? Oh wait, no, sorry. So it's divided by 2. So there were 2 units sold. So 48.80. Can't do that quite in my head. 48.80 divided by 2 is 24.40. So this is actually 24.40, which is what the number was the last time I sold this. Because I've already sold it once, just a couple days ago. But now we've got it again. So we'll just take this, we'll copy it, and we'll bring it down here. Wait, let's bring it down here. Gosh darn it. Copy, bring it down here, paste. There we go. So we've gotten, what was it? Is it 6 of these? Go away. 7 of these, and we've already sold 3 of these. And this is definitely a high school book, Geometry 2018. It's and I bought 7 of them in the hopes of selling them quicker. So I've already sold 3 of these, and it's only May. So what I might do is come into Be Cool and raise the price just so I don't sell any more before the season comes, because I'm wanting to get this sold for a little bit more. 40 is actually pretty good price for this. I might just leave it and see if I sell out of them, I sell out of them, you know what I'm saying? But then make a note that next year, this book, Geometry 2018 Student Edition, I need to buy more than 7. Because I bought 7 of them, and if I sell out of them, this month, it means I need to buy like 20, 30 of them. And then, judge it from the next year how it goes and see. And then if I sell out of them again, up it again. Depending on what the used offer count is. Obviously, if the used offer count's crazy high, then, which it is a little higher than usual, then you might want to kind of take that into consideration. But anyways, this one, let's start it. This one is done. So Geometry 2018, all I'm doing right now is just taking this and putting it in my spreadsheet. That way my buying spreadsheet is updated, and if I need to, I can come back in next year and check it out. So I'm going to take the title of that, this next one, which actually I got to make sure, Introduction to Computer Sciences 4/17/25, another one. So you can see in my prep center, it puts in the date that they shipped it. So both of these books got shipped in literally a month ago. So we'll take the title of this, we'll throw it back into here, and we'll put date sold as 5/16/25. So yeah, it took me 39 days to sell this one, and sell was 30. And proceeds was $18.71. So there we go. So we made $10 on this book off of $5. So that's quite a big um, margin. Let's see. And you can come over here and you can see that that's 246% ROI at 44% margin, which is massive. That's a huge one right there off of $5 making that. That's a plus. All right. So now we move on to the next one. This one took a little longer to sell. You can see that this one I wasn't even using a prep center yet. So this was back in March 2024. So March of last year. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it in here. Oh wait, I need to go to my 2024 spreadsheet. Here, paste. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Sometimes when this happens, it usually means that I maybe didn't put it on my spreadsheet, especially whenever I didn't have a prep center. I didn't have my my systems down as well, so sometimes I missed putting things into my spreadsheet. February 16th. So if I come in here and look at February 16th when I bought it, look, a whole bunch of book mine. Band orchestra, and it does not look like I have it. I forgot this one, and it happens. So what we're gonna do here is I'm just gonna come in here, highlight the last one, but it's on February 16th, 2024, and then I'm gonna open it up, inserting a row above it, and then I'll come back over here to the band orchestra, so you can see it's $9.99, and then I'm just gonna boom hit this on SellerAmp. This is another one that's SellerAmp is down in the description. It's how I auto populate all of my spreadsheets, at least my buying spreadsheets, and I need to update it so it doesn't do that. So I got it to where, because I added the SKU in later, and it shifts over now. But anyways, we got that, and then I'll copy this aside, that way it's updated. Paste. I missed that one, but we'll just put one. All right, so now we've got this in there. Update the date, because it's gonna say today's date. SellerAmp's just gonna auto populate today's date. But what we're gonna do now is we just update it here. So we got sold on 5/17/25, and this one took over a year to sell. So this is definitely a book that, I'm not gonna buy again. At least off of the data that I've got now. I could have it priced wrong or something. But if it takes over a year to sell, to me, that's not worth it. But we sold it for $40. So put 40. Proceeds are $25.17. 5/17. And so, we made a good return on it. Made $14 off of $9.99. So we over 100% ROI'd it, which, was an amazing return. But it took over a year to sell. And if we look into here, we can see why. It barely sells ever. There isn't a whole lot of people on it, so that is a plus. But if we bought this book again, we can expect to, it to take another over a year to sell, and that, for me, I'm wanting stuff to sell a little bit faster. It's okay if it does take that long. Like if you're buying books and, not tracking them, and you find a book and it takes a year to sell, that's not a bad thing by any means, but it's not a book that I want to track. Does that make sense? It's a book that I might buy again if it's not the right price. But Not something that I'm going to waste my time at tracking. So this one is a DVD. I bought it a while ago. Looks like we shipped it in on 6/28/2024. We sold it for $41.80. Oh, well, we sold it on 5/17. Oops, 25. 41. What was it? 41.80. And then our estimated payout was 30.39. 39. It was still a really good return. It did take 360 days to sell. So DVDs, I'm actually coming out with a video here soon. I'm not going to be really buying them much anymore, just because I'm starting a new job where I'm traveling. So doing my own self prep is going to be a lot less. So I'm shifting pretty much completely over to books here soon. And that's just because I'm not going to be home enough to deal with it. And when I am home, I don't want to deal with it. So that's everything for the updating the spreadsheet, or updating the admin work. So we've done everything for seller board sales, the updated media purchase spreadsheet, and after it's all said and done, we profited $22 off of $191 in sales. So don't be fooled by the gold bars. Don't look at them and say, I'm doing great. I made $190. That's more than what my job paid me today. I'm quitting. No, that's exactly what I did whenever I first quit my job. I was looking at the gold bars thinking, I'm doing better than my job. But Seller Board really helped me break it down and see that, I might be making great gold bar looks, but my profit wasn't quite there. And that's what brought me back to books from going to traditional online arbitrage. Anyways, now we move on to the next step of my everyday admin work, which is update stranded inventory. And right now, we're actually in a weird spot. My stranded inventory, usually, if I have any, it's like 1 or 2 books. But every time a shipment goes in, I have a ton pop up on my stranded inventory. And that's because my prep center will price everything they send in at $199.99. And once they do that, a lot of books are going to get dinged with high pricing errors, and they're going to get pushed over here to the stranded inventory or, high price error spot. So I'm not going to handle that right now, because what I do is on my admin work, I have after a shipment is confirmed. So like once my prep center tells me, hey, we're sending this in, we have everything, in your inventory, we're sending it in this date. I go through and I update the cogs on the seller board. I add the SKUs to my media purchase sheet. I update my Be Cool with all those in there, and I update stranded inventory. This is the most time consuming part of all of this admin work, and that's just because it's either you do it up front whenever, as soon as your stuff checks into your inventory, or you're doing it as you go. And when I was doing my taxes this year, I was doing as I go. As I sold it, I entered my cogs, I entered the SKUs. I didn't do Be Cool. I always updated that, but and everything. So, but the problem with that is my tax guy I was like, hey, here's my inventory or my seller board. What can can you use this to evaluate the value of my inventory? And he was like, no, I can't do that, because it's an issue of that they can't use it, because a lot of my cogs weren't entered, so they had no idea what my inventory was worth. So now I just go through and I update my products. I go in products, I'll come over here to cogs and I'll update. Well, once it loads, and I'll update the cogs to where it shows all the zeros. And some of the zeros, like see 2023, 10/29, 2023, I got this for $0 because I was using my credit card points. So there are a few books that I have gotten for free. Um, but if you come down here and you see like this one is it says 05/14/25. So that was when my last shipment went in. I did not get this one for free. So I need to go in, look at the listing, see my receipt, put in my cogs that I bought it for, and then hit save. And then that will update seller board with this product. So when it sells, it'll automatically have the cogs already inside of it. So, so that's why we're not going to be doing the stranded inventory right now. eBay sales is another one. I'm actually going to come out with a video here soon going over my how to use GoToLister. I'm not an expert by any means. I will definitely struggle through it, but I'm going to go through the seller or GoToLister, and because I'm switching all of my eBay inventory to Amazon inventory, at least what I can, that I'm not gated in. Switching it all to Amazon because I don't really because I'm traveling for my job again, so I'm not really going to be able to ship things out myself for while I'm traveling and stuff for the job. So I'm going all digital, but so this will actually go away for me here soon, which got mixed feelings about. Anyways, so we've done the sales updates. We've done the stranded inventory. We've done the eBay sales, and now the next step is to update the prep center sheet. So if we come into my prep center sheet here, I'm gonna go through and everything that's on 5/16, like right here, got checked in. So on 5/16. So this one just checked into my prep center yesterday. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to come over from my 2025 spreadsheet, I'm going to paste it in here, and then I'm just checking it in. This is to make sure that, you received what you've bought. Because before I did this, there was a lot of things that got past me. And it would be a while, and I would come back to my spreadsheet, and I'd be like, where is this? Why isn't this, in? And then I would go in and try to figure it out, and then eventually I'd figure out that I never got it. It never checked in. So then I would be like, well, crap, and then I try to do a return, and then it would be like past the return date, and it's just a headache. So, take the not even 5 minutes that it takes to come in here, find the 5/16s that are, checked in, and then put them in there, because it just saves you a ton of money. You'll be surprised about the amount of money that you're losing out on if you don't do this real fast check-in process. It really doesn't take long. 5/16/25. I think that I've got, yeah. Oh no. I don't know. We'll look at that in a second. But yeah, here's one more, and then we got one that's either I didn't put on the spreadsheet or I got sent the wrong product. And there's another reason why you need to look at these, because sometimes you'll get a wrong product. You'll get somebody will send you the wrong thing that you didn't actually order, and that's a problem. But no, I remember buying this book, so I just didn't put it into my prep center spreadsheet. That's so with Central Virginia Prep, you're putting in, every time you buy a book, you put it into their spreadsheet, tells them that you've got how much coming, what ASIN you want it on, and yada yada. But this one looks like I may have missed it, unfortunately. Did I put this on my other spreadsheet? I did. I just didn't quite go over to um, the prep center. So the way I do this, I have my prep center sheet right here, so it just auto populates, and it's a hardcover. And I click prep center, and then it'll auto populate right here. So that just it just says that it has all the information that I need, so that the only thing I need to do is use seller amp right here to just click this button and it auto populates. But for some reason I forgot to click the button on this one. So all I have to do is just say, hey, this is what it is. I'm gonna just highlight this, bring it down, okay, and then update this. When did I buy it? To say May 9th. So 5-9-25, and then unhighlight it so that they know. And then I could just delete that. Oops. Delete the row. And then boom. So now we're updated. They might charge you a little bit. Just heads up. If you don't put your if you don't have your spreadsheet up to date, they will charge you a little bit for, not checking it in or not saying that it was coming. So just a heads up on that. But there you go. Another reason why you need to keep up to date. And then another thing that I do underneath the update the prep center sheet is I also request returns if needed, which the only one I have right now is this one, and I've already done that yesterday. So your prep center, or at least for Center Virginia Prep's going to highlight it red right here. Like this one, it has water stains in it, and they will tell you if they don't think that it's even acceptable. And so you'll just go in here, request a return, send it back, get your money back, and everything. But that's really helpful. And if you don't, so like the reason why I do the check-in thing is because every 2 weeks, I believe, on the admin work, or once a week. Once a week, I'll go into orders that haven't checked in yet, which this is kind of the once a week thing. I do it more than once a week, and sometimes I'll do it less than once a week. It varies, because this process, as long as you're doing it within a month, because some orders, I've had issues of returning them with after a month ends, but I think Amazon gives you 3 months, but I'm not for sure. But anyways, the reason why the check-in process is so important is because once you're getting past a month, like right up here, you can see that everything that's checked in and it's solid, right? The only time it's not going to be solid is whenever this is a return or canceled, and something happened, either canceled or returned. So I took out the shipping price, I took out the quantity, so you're not going to see anything here. But if this was just blank and the shipping price was still in there, which I don't think I'm going to have an example, because I've already updated everything. But if this was blank and I would click on it and I would see all right, do I have this in yet? I ordered it back in March. Okay, this one's a little longer example, but if I order it back in March and it still isn't here in May, there's a problem. So I'd go in, look at it, see that I haven't got it, check my prep center sheet, see if it's checked in yet. It hasn't, so I'll come back and I'll request a return saying, hey, it never showed up, and then I'll get this $1842 back, just for doing that little bit of work. It's really easy. Most of the time you're not going to have any issues, unless you are trying to scam people. Then you probably will have some issues. And I have requested stuff before where I didn't see it and it was actually there, And you can also come in here and look. I can't do that. You can look at this one. Excuse me. This one is a book that I bought back in April 18th, so it's almost been a month, and it hasn't checked in yet in my prep center. So something's up with this. So let's look at this over here, and you can see that on my spreadsheet I've updated it. So I've already taken out the price, the check-in, everything. So if I'm still questioning, like, why did I do that, I can come in here. I'm not going to click on it, but I can click on this and it'll say that I got it canceled or returned, and that'll be, you'll be able to see it that way. But I'm not going to click on it because it shows my address. And so now that I know that I've returned it, I just hop over here and then I can just delete this because I know that it's no longer coming. I'm not going to see it. And then we're good. And then the next one right here is 5/1. So it's been 17 days. So let's just look at this. I think that I remember taking care of this one. Yes. So this was a return, or it got canceled. Jeez. Sorry. So I can also take care of this one. Delete it. Boom. And now I'm pretty sure we're all caught up. Well, let's make sure this one's been it's just over a week, so I doubt it. Yeah, we're still waiting on this one, so we'll wait. But look at this one. It's been $95 on this one. So if this one doesn't show up, I definitely want to request a return on that one. But all right, and then that finishes up the prep center, update the prep center sheet, check in books, and request returns if needed. That's just to keep on top of your prep center sheet, because if you don't, it'll add up quickly. And then, we kind of did that already with that process right there. You're just going back and seeing what's kind of old and what's not checked in, and you're, requesting returns or, updating your spreadsheet to show that you did what you did and you're good to go. Because if I needed to do more work on that once a week aspect, there would be, appear from more than 15, 20 days ago, I would see a whole bunch of blank spots right here with no explanation as to why there's blank spots. No, the shipping price would still be there. It would look like this, and I would be like, well, why is this one not checked in? And then I would go in and kind of investigate a little bit more. But we don't have any of that because I stay on top of my stuff, because this admin sheet definitely is a game changer. Definitely helps. And now what I'm going to do, not in this video, but I'm going to go through that after shipment is confirmed, because I've already started doing it. It just takes a while. Sometimes it takes me a couple days because I don't have a whole lot of time to sit down and really work on it, except for 15, 20 minutes a day going through it. But that's about it, guys. I just wanted to go through everything. And what's up, Steve? Heck yeah, early morning grinds. You gotta love them. But I wanted to go over my admin work. That way, you guys can kind of see what the back end looks like. It's not always buying books. You also have to keep your back end in order. That way things don't get kind of out of control, and you don't get buried in all the data, because if you don't keep up with this, for me, I like to do it every single day. That way it just takes 5 minutes a day to update everything, and then it's clean. You're not having to go back and find books that never showed up, and you're like, where is this book? Because if I wasn't doing this, there was a lot of times where I was just labeling it lost, and I had no explanation as to why it was lost, and that frustrated me. So keeping up to date with this is huge. Steve says, this is the stuff that's most important that nobody wants to do. This is very true, yes, and I think that it's very important to keep up to date with it. Steve also says, I can always tell who's legit when they talk about this boring stuff. It's magic. This is very true. Because like a lot of people, especially on the internet, they'll talk about the gold bars and stuff, and it's that's not your business. It looks cool, it's cool to show on the online and stuff, but going in and really like diving into the numbers for me, seller board is how I do that, and diving into the numbers here to where your profit. Like, yes, I made $191 yesterday, but the profit was $22. It really, really makes a difference. But thanks again, guys, for watching. And Steve, thanks again for talking.